So let's start with chapter 8, organizational, structural, and design. So when we set up a new company, we need to think about how we organize the company in terms of the divisions, departments, in terms of the each department policy, how we design the long-term organizational, how we restructure the organization in case the organization need a restructuring in each step. So how much the effect does the organization structure has the organizational operation? How we determine what works for organization, or if we need to reassess the structural design. It can happen in one's company that when the CEO has been changed, they might do the restructuring because each CEO depends on his or her own structure of the company. So it might happen to reassess the structural design that had been holding well for many years before. It might be happen to redo the structural design for the organizational. So this chapter tries to present us with the fundamentals of the organizational design, which help us to understand the needs of organization with the relevance to their nature of business and goals. What is the organizational structural? So it might comes into the exam question as a multiple choice question. I'll give you this definition. I will give you several answers or several elements. You need to choose the best answer that fulfill the concept. So the organizational structure is the formal arrangements of jobs within the organization. So we have the organizational structure, we have the formal arrangements. It's arrangements between the departments, between the divisions in the company according to the goals. So when managers develop or change the structure, they are engaged in the organizational design. So when we do the organizational design, or let's say it could be a multiple choice question, when we do the organizational design, or when we can name or when we can call that this certain or particular organization is doing a restructuring or is doing a organizational design, when the managers try to develop or change the structure. So organizational design means change or develop. So it could be a change and it could be a develop. It could be develop the current structure, or it could be if the structure is worse enough, it can lead to do the overall to the do the whole change for the structure. So organizational design is a process that involves the decisions about the 6 key elements. By the way, each one of you has seen his or her marks in the student portal. I advise you to do the activities as soon as possible. As soon as possible. Go ahead and do the whole activities. Do not late in doing your activities, okay? Do it as soon as possible. So the organizational design is a process that involves decisions about 6 key elements. So what are the 6 key elements in the organizational design process? What are the 6 key elements in the process? The first one is the work specialization. The first one is the work specialization. It's about dividing of the work activities in the organization into a separate job task. So work specialization, it means dividing or naming or giving a name to each department according to the nature work of this certain or particular division. So if they are, let's say, a university, the departments could be admission department, the international unit department, the visa department, the postgraduate department. So each division has his own specialty. So the essence of work specialization is in that the entire work activity is not done by the one individual alone. It's also done by the whole corporation together with the departments. So work specialization increase productivity. So if you give each one of the stuff his specialty, so this will increase the productivity. This could be a multiple choice question. The work specialty will increase, decrease, or will retain the productivity. It will increase the productivity. However, at the same point, it could be cause a human disconformities, poor quality, and high turnover. Turnover means that staff will resign. The level of staff that leave the job. Departmentalization means having a department, admission department, visa department, high commission department, uh, let's say postgraduate department. So it's the basis by which jobs are grounded together. So in each department we have the specialty. So we have first the specialty, above we have the department. So each organization will have its own specific way of classifying and grouping the groups. So there are 5 common forms, or there are 5 common forms of departmentalization. First, the functional department. The second is the product department. The third is the geographic department. The fourth is the process department. And the last one is the customer department. The last one is the customer department. The functional department is the low level. If you have studied with me the first class, the functional department is the low level of managers. They are doing the day-to-day work. So we call them the function. The product departments, these people, they are in charge of the product line manager. The geographic department, these people, they are in charge of how they distribute the work among each other, how distribute the work, how they it could be also the distributing channels for the organization. The process department, here we can call it, it could be like let's say a visa department. A visa has a process, has a 10%, has a 50%, has 70%, 100% complete. So this is called a process. It is called a process department. A customer department is, let's say, the reception. Is the reception deal directly with the customers. Functional department is a group's, let's here comes to the details of each department. The functional, it groups jobs by function performed. For example, engineering, production, marketing, and finance. It creates a high degree of efficiency. However, in functional department, it may be difficult to coordinate products and services, which could result in reducing the responsiveness to the needs of customers. So when employees are assigned to functional departments, they tend to identify with the functional department's goals rather than with the organizational goals or customer needs. Okay. Product department. It groups jobs by product lines. For example, a computer company is structured into 3 divisions. the computer software, and the consulting services. So the product here, the company has been divided, or has been divided according to the product itself. According to the product itself. So the company might have a software department. So in case you need any to buy any software, you need to go to the software department. If you have any consultant, if you have any inquiries, you might go to the consulting services. So this structure will allow this structure will allow the employees to develop the expertise in both a function and a line of products. In both a functions and a line of products. So a salesperson in the computer division can develop a specialized product knowledge in selling computer systems without knowing about the software or consulting services. The primary disadvantages is the duplications, and it could be difficult to achieve a coordination across the different product department. So the primary disadvantages is the duplication. So we might have two departments having the same work. The geographical department, it groups jobs on the basis of geographical region. So it allows the organization to focus on a customer's need that may vary by a geographic region or market. So here the geographic department means focus on the customer needs related to his geographic area or place. For example, an organization of a fast food company with the United States and Canada, or a Latin American or European or Asian divisions. So let's say we have a KFC. Who doesn't know KFC? We have a McDonald's. So McDonald's has been the product here has been distributing according to the geographical place. So we have a KFC in Malaysia, we have a KFC in Canada, we have a KFC in Saudi Arabia, we have a KFC in Emirates. So this is the geographic, depends on the geographical departments. So this structure also will allow each division or manager to satisfy the customer's taste and preference in that region. So we can so if you come here to Malaysia, the KFC here is quite different from the KFC in Saudi Arabia or from the KFC in Emirates. Why? Because they are trying to adapt to make their products quite familiar with the culture of the food in Malaysia. Okay, so you might see here the KFC, it's more about spices. So here the KFC, it's quite spicy. It's quite they focus on the spices they use. So to be more familiar with the nature of food in Malaysia. So the primary disadvantages is that can lead to the duplication of the resources, and it could be difficult to coordinate departments that are literally thousands of miles from each other. It's a matter of duplication also. It's very hard to contact or to follow up or to keep up to date or to monitor these departments all over the world. Process departments, it groups jobs on the basis of product or customer flow, work activities flow, as a nature processing flow of the products or even the customers. So this type of department supports the efficient flow of work activities. So here the process department focus on the um, how much the process or the workflow, let's say the workflow of the product is efficient and effective. Okay, so the primary disadvantages is that it can be used with the only certain types of product. So here the main disadvantages of this process, it could be used with the a certain types of product rather than a various types of products. Customer departmentalization. It groups here on the basis of specific and unique customers who have a common needs or problems that can best met by having the specialties for each. So, for example, American Express is organized into departments that cater customers. So here, the American Express company is organized into departments that serve each customer. So let's say we have a cards department, we have a travel and entertainment department, we have a financial advisors, we have a banking and business people. It's same with if you go to any bank, you will see that they have a visa department, they have a consulting department, they have a loan department, they have a financial advisor department. So they are varied according to the needs of customer. So the primary disadvantages of the customer departments, like a product department, it leads to the duplication of resource. So we can see that the main disadvantages of each department could be lead to a duplication, so this is a common disadvantages the among the departments. So the chain of command is the line of authority extending from upper organizational levels to the lowest levels, which clarifies who reports to who. The chain of command means I'm a normal staff in a company. I have a HOD, I have a head of department above me, and the HOD have a deputy CEO, and the deputy CEO has a CEO. The chain of command, I cannot directly report something from directly from me to the CEO or directly from me to the deputy CEO. I need to go through a chain of command, go through my HOD go through the deputy CEO, the deputy CEO go through the CEO, and so on and so forth. So there are three others related concepts, which are authority, responsibility, and the unity of command. The authority, the responsibility, and the unity of command. So this is the three basic things with the chain of command. The authority here refers to the rights inherent in managerial position to tell people what to do and to expect them to do it. So the authority here it gives you the rights. It gives you the right to report to who. So as you are HOD, you have the right to report to your deputy CEO. The deputy CEO has a right to report to the CEO, and so on. So the responsibility here is the duty to perform assigned tasks. Each one of the staff has his own responsibility, like a daily work, like an annual work, like a weekly work. So the unity of command here, lastly, the unity of command principle states that a person should report to only one manager. Without the unity of command, the conflicting demands and the priorities from the multiple bosses can create problems. So again, if you are stuck, you need to stick to the chain of command. You need to stick at the chain. You need to report to only one manager, and you cannot, in addition, to cross the managers. So what is the span? It determines the number of levels and managers in the organization. So the manager with a small span of control supervises a small number of subordinates and can closely monitor the work of each subordinate. So the span here means the extent of power for each staff. For a small span of control are usually associated with the many levels of management, which gives a rise to tall vertical organization structure. So a small span of control has a small number of staff. A larger span of control means that have more responsibility is has been pushed and assigned to a lower level and resulted in a fewer manager or management level. Centralization and decentralization. I think this is quite familiar for you. The centralization describes the degree to which the decision making is concentrated at upper levels of the organization. So the centralization mainly focus on the decision, mainly focus on the decision. So the decision is held with the one manager, or the decision is distributing by many staff. So with the decentralization here, the decision making authority is pushed to the lower level in the organization. So even the normal staff or the smallest staff in the organization can even take a decision. This centralization is often more effective in rapidly changing environment where it is necessary to responsive to changing customer needs and taste. Formalization. It refers to how standardized an organization's jobs are and the extent to which employee behavior is guided by rules and procedures. So formalization means having a formal rules and regulation in the company, having a formal rules and regulation in the company. How such a company follow the rules, whether related to the internal or external environment. So if the job are highly formalized, then the person doing the job has a little free hand over what's to be done, has a little free hand, has a little responsibility, has a little flexibility. So an organization here with a high formalization provide employee with many documents that need to specify the right way to conduct the business with customers or interact with the others employees. So the formalize or the company that follow high formalization, we can see that this is a certain company, um, uh, let's say, apply a lot of documentation. So whatever you need, even you want to borrow the company car, you need to fill in a form, you need to apply online, you need to get the approval first. So this is kind of formalization. Organizational design decisions. There are two generic models of organizational decisions, or there are two generic models of organizational design. The mechanistic organization, it is a rigid and tightly controlled structure characterized by a high specialized, rigid departmentalization, narrow spans of contract, high formalization, and a limited information network, and a little participation in the decision making by a lower level employee. Mechanistic. What's the mechanistic organization? So the mechanistic organization has this certain has these certain characteristics. They have lower decision. They have formalities. They have a narrow responsibilities given to the staff. What is the organic organization? It is highly flexible. So you need to memorize each of the organization type, whether it's mechanic or whether it's organic. You need to memorize each feature. Okay, so organic organization is highly flexible, which means that the job can be changed rapidly as the needs require. So the employees here require a minimum formal rules and a little direct supervision. It may have a specialized job, but those are not standard. Those are not standard. So the appropriate structure depends on the contingency variables. What are these contingency variables? The best structure for the organization depends on the following. First is the strategy. The current strategy framework tends to focus on three dimensions: the innovation, the cost minimization, and the limitation. The innovation here reflects to the organization's pursuit of meaningful and unique innovation. The cost minimization here reflects to the organization pursuit of tightly controlled cost. The limitation reflects to the organization seeking to minimize risk and maximize profit opportunities by copying the market leaders. So it can happen that one of the company trying to minimize or to cut off the cost. To cut off the cost means to reduce the cost. To reduce the cost. Second is the size. Large organizations tend to have more specializations, department, centralization, and rules, regulations than do the smaller organization. Of course, the bigger organization, always they have the formalities of it. They have a bigger department. They have a centralization. They have rules, regulations. They have more contact with the external environment. The technology here, every organization uses some form of technology to convert its inputs into the outputs. So here, the more routine the technology, the more mechanistic the structure could be. The more mechanistic the structure could be. So the more company using technology is, the more structure for the organization can be expanded. So the degree of environmental uncertainty. Some organizations face relatively stable and simple environments. Others, they are facing dynamic and complex environment. So some of the companies, they having a static. Their stability is very static. They never face any challenges. They have a routine work like distributing channels for drinking water. They have a routine work. They have a routine geographic area they need to serve. But others, they have a dynamic. They have a changing environment. They have a changing environment. Because of the uncertainty threatens an organization effectiveness, managers will try to minimize it. So always the managers try to avoid the threats, the risks by calculating the risks, that by calculating that what company could be in the future have any troubles. So the managers try to try to eliminate these kinds of risks. Traditional organization design. Simple structure. We have the functional structure. It's the organizational design that groups similar or related to the occupational specialists together. Okay, the divisional structure, it is the organizational structure that made up of the separate business units or divisions. The contemporary organizational designs. Team structure. In a team structure, the entire organization is made up of the work teams that perform the organization's work. Example, the Apple. They have a team structure. And the work or the specific job of each team structure is to perform the organizational work, and it also to perform the organizational mission in general. Matrix and project structure. It is the organizational structure that assigns the specialties from different functional departments to work on or one or more projects being led by the project managers. So here the matrix and project structure, it is more about the leadership. It is more about the leadership that has to be in the certain company that trying to manage a project. There must be a leadership. This leadership must have the departments related and the divisions related. The boundary-less organizations. It is the organizations whose design is not defined by or limited to the horizontal or vertical or external boundaries imposed by a predefined structure. So the boundary means here the organization is not defined or limited to the horizontal. It's not defined or limited to any path. The organization has a less boundary, has a less barriers, has a less control by the internal and external environment. Okay, this is the end of the class. Thank you very much. I would like to share with you my YouTube channel in case each one of you need to see or re-attend the class. You can see it normally at the end of each class. I upload the class into my YouTube channel. We can also review again in case you miss any information. Okay guys, this is the YouTube channel. Please go there. You can see the lessons that has been uploaded before in case you need to review or resit or re-see the class or the lecture. Also you can listen again and again in order for you not to miss any information. Thank you very much and see you next class. Bye bye.